TJ, the Wheel Deal coming at you live. It is Thursday, Friday Junior, and we're going to get into it today, guys. We're going to do a portfolio update. We are going to feature just a couple of two or three key positions, if you will. And then Alex sent me a 44-page slideshow. I'm not sure. So we're gonna peruse through it real quickly and see what's going on with Alex. Maybe we can get him on the channel one day again, and he can go over it. So we're gonna go over that as well, and we'll kind of just go from there. I hope you guys are doing well. We've got 27 people that have clicked the link on X, and we've got 4 people rocking with me live here on YouTube. So anyway, that's what's going on. That's what's going on with that in a nutshell. I don't have quote of the day. I don't have anything going right now, guys. This is just, I didn't even think I was going to come live, but the wife's still sleeping. I ain't got much to do. I'm not making a lot of trades. So I figured, hey, let's just talk through some of these positions, essentially. What's going on, Jill? What's going on, SJ? What's going on, Zavan? What is going on, Orso, Edmund, Dex, Chris, Richie? Hello and welcome, welcome, and hello. What's going on, Bachata? I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are getting value out of these FaceTimes, guys. Give me a thumbs up if you're getting any value out of our FaceTimes, because I've got, just looking at it today, I've got, so today is Thursday. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 FaceTimes for today. Got 1, 2, 3, 4 FaceTimes for tomorrow. So anyway, let me know if you guys are getting any value out of those FaceTimes, because I am trying to be pretty focused when I'm on those FaceTimes and make it essentially about you. It's not about me. It's about you and your journey, and what can I do to expedite you on that walk, like on that goal, whatever that goal is for you. I want to make sure that we leave those FaceTimes and you're like, shit, this dude could have charged me like a lot more than what he's charging. That's the goal. That's the goal. If I'm not delivering on that goal, then I need to get better at that aspect of the job, if you will. So anyway, let's get into the portfolio update real quickly, and we're just going to call it. It's going to call it portfolio update, but it's going to be featured positions. So featured positions. So let me see if I could figure this out here. We're going to go present. We're going to share the screen. And we're going to just feature some positions. I think the portfolio is a little bit red today because the CPI came in a little bit hotter than I guess they wanted. It is what it is. I think this is good for the market. I think we need kind of a little bit of a cool down day, cool off day. It'd be really cool. It'd be really cool if the market just kind of chilled out a little bit, give us time to breathe a little bit on those covered calls that have been underwater. I don't think anybody's going to complain about that. So let's see what's going on with the portfolio. So right in here, I've got a limit order that I put on American Airlines. So I sold 50 cash secured puts for 11 wanted $11, and I asked for 27 cents, and 9 out of the 50 have been filled. So whenever I'm offline, I try to get that extra dollar because I'm not in a hurry to get it filled to move on to the next topic of conversation. So that is one advantage of wheeling offline, if you will. So you guys will see that hopefully throughout the course of this live that those will get filled. That's the idea. If not, I can always lower it to 26 cents and call it good. But I essentially want to be running the covered strangle on American Airlines. As long as American Airlines stays under $12, guys, it's good to go. I'm comfortable owning it. I'm comfortable I'm comfortable owning it. I'm comfortable selling cash secured puts. The premiums are decent, not great. I feel like the risk to the downside is very minimal, and the opportunities for the upside are decent. So it is a very, very ideal stock to wheel. Shout out to Invest with Henry because he's the one that put American Airlines on the radar for me for wheeling, but I was already swing trading it like after COVID, like because all the airlines had gotten tanks. I was doing the airlines, the cruise lines, like with like Delta, Southwest, American, and all the cruise lines. I was doing Royal Caribbean and Norwegian. I never got into Carnival for whatever reasons. I know Chris Patel has done a ton of research on Carnival. He tells me it's the one. I just didn't. Whenever I did the research early on in 2020, mind you, I don't research like he does. I just didn't like it. I just did not like it. I thought they had way too much freaking debt. And all of these do. I mean, these cruise lines are horrible business models. They do not, it is tough. It's a tough business to make money at. And I didn't like the fact that they weren't domiciled in this country, so they weren't going to qualify for any stimulus packages of any kind during COVID. So that was just like the limited research that I did. But I was like, I still think there's a swing trade out there because people feel confined during COVID. And I think that as soon as they're able to travel, they're going to be like, I'm going to go on that cruise. I'm going to go this. I'm going to go do that. Because you're having all of these bucket list moments whenever, all of a sudden the world tells you you can't go do anything. So that was the idea behind, any types of travel stocks. So let's do some featured trades, if you will. So the first one that I want to feature is none other than SoFi. So let's talk about the trade. Let's talk about the investment because there's two aspects going on here. There's the trades, those are the options, and then there's the actual investment. And kind of tell y'all like where I'm at, why I'm doing what I'm doing, etc. If you guys haven't watched Wheelers from last night, I go into this a little bit on why I sell covered calls in situations where it doesn't make sense to you guys. So right here, I've got 150,000 shares in this account. We've got it at an average of $7.74. So that part's pretty decent. Not great, decent. Then we've got cash collateral, $800,000. That's an agreement to buy $800,000 worth of SoFi. We got to name our price. We named our price over here at $8 for January. And we're doing very well on that particular aspect of the trade. I mean, we're already at 63%, guys. So there's still 64, excuse me, there's still $64,000 of meat left on the bone, and it's probably it's a 32 delta, so it still can kind of go either way. There's a 68% chance that we don't have to own those shares. There is a 32% chance that we will have to own those shares. But also, if we look at the options price, it's 64 cents. So if SoFi were to go up $1, we're going to gain 32 cents. So we'd be at about an 85% profit. And we could essentially get back about 35,000 at that point and free up the 800 grand. So essentially what this market value says, if you want to free up your collateral, which is 800 grand in this case, because 800 contracts times 1,000 is 800,000. If you give back 64,000, you lock in this win and you free up the collateral. That's what's going on. That's how you read the scoreboard. But I'm like, I don't want to give back that much. I'm interested in giving back in the $25,000 to $30,000 range to free up that collateral. If there's an opportunity to go put that collateral to work somewhere else, and I'm going to get a lot more than I would have to give back. A, B, I have to feel just as good about the trade. I have to feel just as good about the entry point on the other trade as I feel about this one. Because if I had to take ownership of more shares of SoFi at $64, I'm not really, at $8, I'm not really sweating it. So it's real hard to pry that $64,000 out of my hands right here, right now, because I'm not sure if I could put that money to work somewhere else for the same time frame and feel just as good about it. Because I'm like, well, I could do right at 7. that, yeah. But I'm like, well, this company makes money. They're going on their fourth quarter of GAAP profitability, right? It's real good at, dilution. So I'm like, do I really want to do that? I already have way too much exposure to Bitcoin via the proxies and everything else. Do I really want to do that? The answer is not really. Then I'm like, well, there's Tesla. What about TSLL? Maybe at 773, it kind of makes sense, because 773 is less than $8, so that would take less capital. So that's one to look at. So those are all the angles that I look at. But then also you got to look at the tax implications. So I'm like, okay, so shoot, we're going to lock in a nice win. We're going to have to pay taxes on it. So if I'm having to give back right now $64 a contract, I got to be getting closer to like $90 to $100 a contract. So I'm walking all through the mindset of all of the things that have to happen. All the dominoes have to line up in order for me to want to make this move. So the move doesn't really make sense here. It makes more sense in like that 30 to 40 cent range, because then now I can go find another opportunity, right? Like, let's talk it through, right? TSLL, because I already have those trades on. So essentially I would be looking to add to those trades. Excuse me. What's up, baby? I am, baby, as soon as I get done with YouTube. All right, bye. That's my wife giving me the daily to do. So here is TSLL, 773. It's paying 82 cents. It doesn't really work out because if I consider all the tax implications, and it's like I don't quite feel as good about TSLL at 773 as I do SoFi at 8. So that one it doesn't add up. The math doesn't math. And then let's go over to Riot at $7 because we've got those trades on already, I believe, for January. Yeah, here we go. So there's this one. This one's 99. So this one's a little bit closer, but I mean, I already got quite a bit of exposure over there. Am I really going to want to add another 1,000 contracts, because it'd be about, maybe 1,100 contracts or so to get to the same $800,000 of collateral? The answer is no, because the portfolio would just be too lopsided over here on Riot. So wouldn't be able to do it. So it just doesn't make sense. So now let's keep looking at SoFi. This is going to be a featured trade. So we're going to like really dig in so I can tell you guys like what I'm really thinking with this thing. So this part's good. This part's good. And now we got to look at the stock collateral. What's going on with that? So we've got $9 covered calls over here for October. Those are a little bit underwater. And then we've got $9 covered calls for January. Those are really going to be underwater at some point. But the reason that I was okay with it is because I have all of these leaps right here. These leaps are the protection to the upside. So SoFi is free to run. I am not cheering against the SoFi stock. So this position is really set up for success, in my opinion. So there's that. So why did I sell these covered calls? It's because it was protection to the downside. Whenever you buy a put, you're essentially buying an insurance policy that says, hey, I'm locking in my ability to sell you these shares at this price, and that's going to cost you money. So what I looked at is, well, let me sell the covered call, because instead of paying out premium, I want to collect some premium. And in this case, I only collected $7,000 for this account. So I'm like, okay, shoot, that's not a lot of money, but I'm actually okay losing as much as $10,000 on this particular trade, because that means that the shares are printing. Because that's the mindset whenever you buy puts and you don't really want to sell your shares. You're just like, quote unquote, shorting your own stock. In that aspect, you're basically saying, hey, I want to buy an insurance policy to sell you these shares here. And if it goes up, I'm okay paying you that premium, because that means that I made money on the shares. So that was the same mindset on the covered call. It's like, well, let me treat it almost like as if I'm buying a put, but in this case, I'm actually getting paid premium. On the off chance that I'm right, it didn't cost me any money to ensure that position. I actually made a little bit of money. So I essentially treated this covered call like an insurance policy to the downside, and I was gladly willing to lose $10,000. So I got 7, so I'm willing to close this thing out for 17,000, and I'm happy about it because that means that SoFi is going up and to the right. So that was the mindset. So this is Wheeler's 201, 301, and 401 coming at you. It's not just like, oh my God, TJ's an idiot. I can't believe he sold cover calls at 9. SoFi's got all the momentum. Yeah, but it hasn't showed the ability to hold any gains either. And I'm not willing to buy puts on the position to ensure to the downside, because everything in the portfolio right now for SoFi is all protection against the upside, right? If you look at it. Like we're bullish. It's a bullish position. Cash secured put at $8. We're saying, hey, we want to buy a shitload of shares at $8. Covered calls. That's the only little protection I have to the downside right here. And everything else is bullish, So if it goes down, I'm not making any money. These are leaps that you buy. The only way for these to print. So if I got to go up and to the right. So this is a very, very bullish position on SoFi. So I was like, well, let me put a semi-bearish position on there. So I'm kind of playing both sides of the fence. So that's why I wanted those covered calls there. And it doesn't tie up all the shares either. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because you'll see that the stock collateral is 60,000 shares, but I have 1,000 covered calls. So it doesn't match you up with the share ownership. I feel like it matches you up against some of these leaps. And that is where it gets real, real tricky, because I'm not really in a position where I could ever have these covered calls assigned, because I don't know if it's going to take shares or if it's going to exercise me on some leaps and really screw me over that way. That's the part on Robinhood that really, really sucks. And I don't know if we are able to pick. So that is something that Robinhood needs to make very, very clear. And they need to give us that option as option sellers so that we can decide, hey, pair it up with my shares, because I'd actually kind of be okay with that. If you wanted to take these 50,000 shares at $9, take them. I would gladly take that $450,000 and sell cash secured puts, probably on SoFi. Or go do it somewhere else and make a lot more premiums. But I wouldn't be okay if you closed out some of these leaps that are starting to print money a little bit. So that's that's the thing. That's the thing. So that is everything going on with SoFi. So we're really, really bullish on SoFi. I'm cheering for SoFi to go up and to the right. I kind of like for it to wait another week or so, because in this one, I might be break even. And we're getting a lot closer to earnings. And then at that point, I'll be like, well, let me just take the hedge off, give them back 7, 8, 9 grand. Or like if I are able to close out at these levels right here, if we were closer to the expiration date, I would do that. And then I'm just like, okay, I'm hoping. I feel like the earnings are going to be good. I feel like the guidance is going to be good. I think they're going to revise the guidance. And then it's just all about market reception. Is how is the market going to receive that data? Because now we had a little bit of a hot print on the CPI. So is that going to affect SoFi a little bit? I don't know. It could. It could. I don't know. That's why we place our bets, right? That's why they play the games, so to speak. So that is one featured trade. Let me check in with you guys. And kind of go from there. So where are we at here? We did this one right here. What's going on, Jake? What's going on, Alex? What's going on, Zavan? What's going on, Gretch? Appreciate you, MK. Yo, I need that massage chair right on. Relax Massage. That is the website. What's going on, Mark? Good morning, TJ. I think my 12, 20, 49 cover calls on Palantir are about to be in the hands in the cookie jar. I doubt it. I don't think so. I don't think Palantir's got that many legs. We'll see. Could happen. What's going on, Midwest? Whoa, there's more transparent wheelers out there. Great work, TJ. Yeah, so there are some very transparent wheelers. I'm gonna give a shout out to Garcia and Dallas, but they're also kind of derivatives from the channel, right? Because I probably met them on a Myths channel or whatever. I'm not exactly sure where I came through with them. They have channels and they're like fully transparent as well. Invest with Henry's transparent, fully transparent, not even close, but he does show you some of his positions. He does a really, really good job of walking you through like his mindset and stuff like that. I'm trying to think of anybody else that shows any positions. Felix, no. Felix and Friends, no. There's pretty much zero transparency there. He does really good at showing you trade ideas, though. he does make a lot of sense whenever he's talking about like trade ideas, but full transparency, no. So let's talk about that for a little bit. And then we'll do another featured segment. So we have 19, we'll call it the 20-minute mark. So I'll put it over here, the 20-minute mark. Talk about transparency. So why did I want to be fully transparent? It's a good question. It's because I didn't see it on YouTube whenever I was launching my channel. And I was looking for that. I was like, I want to learn how to really sell puts and calls. And I would like to learn from someone who's doing it in real time. Like, don't tell me what you did. Walk me through it while you're doing it in the heat of the moment so that we could be in this battle together. And then maybe I'm not saying that I want to like follow you into all of these trades, but I want to learn from your mindset. That way, whenever I'm fighting my own battle, doing my own trades, I know how to think it through. And that just did not exist. There was this one dude, blonde guy. God, I cannot think of his name right now. He drives a Tesla. Maybe you guys can help me out. He has a little mustache, kind of like that Hitler mustache going on. Really thin guy, white guy. I can't think of his name. He would go live occasionally and talk about, making some trades or whatever, but there was some transparency there, not a lot. Matt from Bulls and the Bears is pretty transparent about what he got's going on, but he doesn't. I didn't come into his channel while he was trading live. He used to trade live back in the day, but like he does a real good job of like telling you everything that's going on in his portfolio. So there's a lot of transparency there. I'm not sure if his name's Kevin. I'm going to try to find him here on YouTube because I saw his channel and I was like, well, I can do that, but I just think I could do it better. And this dude understands options. Like this dude understands options. I'm going to see if I can find him. Like this dude understands options. What is his name? Gosh, man, he drives a Tesla. He drives a little Tesla. Not Kevin, not Meet Kevin. Definitely not Meet Kevin. He drives a Tesla, and he was wrong about the rate cuts. Like this dude was on the record saying, hey, there's not going to be any rate cuts. So I wonder if I subscribe to his channel. Can I look at subscriptions maybe? So maybe he would show up here on the subscriptions. Y'all need to check out this guy's channel, David Jaffe, really, really good channel. Look, he's doing something on Invest with Henry. God, what is the kid's name? But anyway, he would trade live. And then there's another guy, Matt Janino, that had this deal where he was like going to make $1 million wheeling Riot and Marathon. And I followed him into a lot of those trades early on, but it was always like he wasn't doing it live. It was just always like after the fact. I can't find. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find him because I'm looking, right? But anyway, this one dude is the only other person that I would see doing it live in any way. And then there was also Marcus, the older German guy, I think, that lives in Austin. He would tell you what was going on with his portfolio, but it was always just like a recap video. It wasn't live or anything like that. And just tagged you on Twitter on one reason why I'm fully transparent. Right on. Can y'all help me out on the name of this guy? It's killing me, man. It's killing me. And he's like literally has made the best video on the Greeks that I've ever seen in 1 minute or less. Like this dude, the dude that I'm talking about, like his video on the Greeks, 1 minute or less, gives you a very clear understanding on the freaking Greeks. It is absolutely awesome. I have watched that video like probably 3 or 4 times. So it was just like, man, this dude really knows how to explain these Greeks. Anyway, shout out to him. Shout out to him. Uh, so anyway, that dude, he's no, yeah, no, I didn't even know that. Wow. No, definitely not guy. This isn't a big YouTuber, guys. He's not a big YouTuber. He's probably got 10, 15, 20,000 subscribers at the most. So anyway, so I wanted I wanted to create a channel where if you've been selling options for years or this is your day one, this is a channel that you could plug into and essentially like classes in session. So if you're new, we're going to eventually catch you up to speed. If you've been doing this for a while, we're going to always have something for you because there's always new trade ideas and stuff like that. And that was essentially the idea of the channel. Kind of like Amit has his mornings and now the closing. So that's kind of like what Amit's known for, aside from like a bunch of Palantir content and now sprinkling in some Robinhood and so on and so forth, right? So Amit has like this format that he follows for his channel. And I feel like that's what people like. Like people like some sort of a routine, they like some sort of consistency, etc. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do a portfolio update, walk them through everything, and do live Q&A, and then sprinkle in life and stuff, right? So that was kind of like the format that I created for the channel, and it kind of like created itself, right? Because I didn't have like that exact format when I started, but that's kind of like morphed into it. No, it's not him. No. No. It's a guy. He's always talking in his Tesla. He's always sitting in his Tesla. He's got the little name badge or whatever hanging from his neck or whatever. I'll find him here in a second. Options Income, maybe? Is that his name? Options Income. I'm gonna find it. I'm looking. I'm looking and I'm gonna find it. I'm not sure if it's Options Income. I feel like it could be Options Income. Is this the dude? No. Shit. Anyway, it's like really, really pissing me off now. So I'm gonna do options Greek in a minute or less. Check it out. Options Greeks in a minute. And maybe that'll pull up his video. So let's see if that'll pull up his video. There he is. Found him. Found him. This kid right here.
I'm going to explain all the option Greeks in under 1 minute. Here we go. Delta is a change that your options premium sees for every $1 change in the stock price. So if you have a 0.5 Delta call option and your stock goes up by $1, your option is going to gain $50. If your stock goes down by $1, then you're going to lose that same $50. Put options are going to have a negative delta since they have the opposite assumption as a call option. Gamma is a change that your delta is going to see for every $1 change in the stock price. So if you have a 0.05 gamma and a 0.5 delta and your stock goes up by $1, your delta is going to change from 0.5 to 0.55. If the stock goes down by $1, then your options delta is going to change from 0.5 to 0.45. Theta is a Greek that's responsible for time decay. For every 1 day that passes, your option is going to lose its theta value, even on weekends and non-trading days. Vega is a change that your options premium sees for every 1% change in implied volatility, or how much the markets expect your option to move by. And finally, Rho, the forgotten Greek, is responsible for changing your options premium for every 1% change in the federal funds rate. I'm going to explain all the option Greeks.
So anyway, that guy would go live on his channel occasionally, and I tuned in once or twice. And then the other person that would go live on their channel a lot it wasn't even his channel. It was a Tasty Trade. It was Dr. Jim. So Dr. Jim it was like live Q&A, and then they would like play some trades here and there, but it was always like pretty small. And then it wasn't even his money. It was Tom's money. So those are like kind of like how I got the idea, And I was just like, I wonder why nobody does it at a higher level. And I was just thinking, well, maybe because there's just like a lot of pressure, right? There's a lot of pressure because you could be exposed, right? You're going to have to like show your losers, not just your winners and stuff like that. And now it's like, I don't think a lot of people are going to want to do that, but I had a lot of confidence in what I was doing. So I was just like totally okay doing that and letting people talk their shit, right? Essentially. And trust me, a lot of people have talked shit about me, but it is what it is. At some point, it's going to be very hard to argue with results. And I just think that eventually the results are going to speak the loudest. And I want to keep growing this portfolio in front of y'all's eyes for the whole world to see eventually. And then you guys are going to be my confederates. You guys are going to be able to back me up if anybody starts talking shit, because Mr. Premium of the Option sent me a text a long time ago. And he said, hey, just need you to know, and I probably already know, but as your channel starts growing, you're going to start getting like a lot more haters. And that just kind of like comes with the territory. So and I hadn't even thought about it. I hadn't even thought about it. And then he sent me that text. And so it just like prepared me, right? But he's military background or whatever. So just he probably thinks about that kind of stuff. I don't. And sure enough, man, as soon as the channel started, like it started to catch a little bit of fire. And my goodness, dude, everybody's a better wheeler than I am, right? At the end of the day. So anyway, let me see if there's another featured trade that we can talk about. And then I want to feature Alex's the research that he did or whatever. And maybe I'll put the link on here if he's available or anyone wants to, we can talk about the research that he's done. So anyway, another trade that I want to talk about, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about little Tesla, right? It's 1010, baby. It is 1010. It is 1010. This is robot day. This is robo taxi day. This is Tesla going to all-time highs day. I don't think that's going to happen, but you know what I mean. So what's going on with Tesla? We're just chilling. We chilling on Tesla, guys. We got the shares. We got an agreement to buy a lot more shares down the road, and we got an agreement to sell those shares at 280 down the road. So we essentially created a bit of a debit spread there. I'm sure if Option was on here, he'd call it a vertical diagonal jade lizards shit. I sold calls and I sold and then I buy calls and they expire on the same day. Make of it whatever you will, because there's only 4 things you can do with options. You can buy calls, buy puts, sell calls, sell puts. Everything else is derivative of that. You can call it whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. I don't care. But that's all that you can do with options. You can buy calls, buy puts, sell calls, sell puts. Everything else, somebody convince you that that's what it's called. That's it. That's it. You know, I keep it real simple on this channel. I don't get into all that bullshit about like, oh, it's a vertical diagonal flying saucer. I don't do any of that shit on this channel because I don't even understand it. And I don't think you do either. So anyway, that's what's going on with Tesla. So I decided that I don't want to mess with Tesla. So I kicked the can down the road pretty far, because my horse became TSLL, because a lot of people don't have really big money. And I recognize that. So I'm like, well, let me play a position with big money, but it's a small account position typically. These leveraged ETF play on Tesla. So I started going crazy with that one. We accumulated quite a bit of shares, and we've got a lot of cash collateral over here willing to buy more shares of TSLL, and all the shares are for sale. So you can see the shares are all for sale at $15 December, because I didn't want to mess with it. Forget about the whole event. Let me just kick the can down the road. I think that it's going to be very difficult for TSLL to get over 15. And then I'm going to sell a shitload of cash secured puts. So I've got 200 of them at 773 for January. I've got 400 of them at 673 for January. And then I bought some leaps as well. That's how I'm able to have all of these shares for sale when we only have 10,000. And then I started a backstop trade way in the distance at 573. So I'm like hot and heavy on TSLL. The premiums are great. It's awesome that they even pay a little bit of a dividend, and I feel great about it, but I'm also playing it very conservatively. You notice that you don't see any $11 strike prices on there. You don't see anything of the sort, because I think that anything over $10 on TSLL, you could find yourself bag holding pretty damn quickly on a pullback. And I didn't want to position myself for that. I'm essentially like, hey, price to pull back in, and then I'm bag holding a little bit, but I'm still probably going to be able to sell covered calls at that cost basis and still bring shitload of premiums through the door. So I thought about all of that, and I was like, if I'm going to play this stock right in front of you guys, I want to do it in a conservative manner. That way, if anything goes south, I'm probably still going to be a-okay. And if I get assigned a shitload of shares because this thing tanks to like $4 or $5, I'm still going to be okay being able to sell some pretty aggressive covered calls, bring in a shitload of premiums through the door. And I feel like eventually Tesla will have its fun in the sun, day in the sun again. And then I could totally see this coming back up to 11.45, $12, and I would be able to exit the position for a massive, massive. So that is the idea behind Tesla and TSLL. And that is why I kind of switched the energy to TSLL, because I feel a lot more of you guys are going to have for sure this type of money to dance with this particular ETF. So there's that. Those are the two featured positions of the day. So I need to go back over here, and it was like that 30-minute mark, I think. And we'll talk about TSLL position. And then now we're going to go into this research that I did, if I can find it. Here we go. Here we go. So we've got, so here we go. We've got, what time is it? We'll go to the 37-minute mark. 37-minute mark, we'll do this Alex's slideshow. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Alex sent me this. Haven't even glossed through it, guys. Haven't even glossed through it. So let's see what's going on here. So we got live breaking news will only air on this channel. SoFi Technologies. There's 150,000 shares of SoFi. And then here it says SoFi News of the Week. The recent decision by the U.S. Supreme Court to decline reinstating President Biden's student loan debt forgiveness plan benefit lender like SoFi Technologies ways. Borrowers will continue to pay. Interest rates will be made. Customers may seek refinance options and no relief is granted. With the inevitability of rate cuts coming later this week, SoFi stock may see upside potential in some of these ways. Borrowers may be more enticed to refinance existing loans. New borrowers would be more willing to use different services provided by SoFi. Cheaper access to capital would increase profit margins. And then here it shows a nice little chart here. The 13 analysts with 12-month price forecast for SoFi Technologies have an average target of $9, with the low estimate of 3 and a high estimate of 14. The average target predicts an increase of 28.39% from the current stock market price of $7.01. Consensus buy. Then he talks about PayPal. 10,000 shares of PayPal. And then here it just goes on to PayPal. The one that I really wanted to talk about, though, is NEO, because I had asked them to do research on NEO. I didn't know we were going to get all of this. This is great. So let me find NEO. So there's 70,000 shares in the portfolio of NEO. I'm going to see if there's any way to make this a little bigger. So there's NEO. I don't know if that, I can't really see that. Okay. So NEO news, new vehicle models. You have the NEO ET7. NEO has launched or announced updates for its ET7 luxury sedan. This model is notable for its advanced driver assistance systems and extended battery range. The NEO ES6 and ES8 updates to NEO's popular ES6 and ES8 SUV models have been released, featuring improved performance and new technology integrations. Battery technology, battery swapping. This is like my number one bull case for NEO, aside from the fact that I think the cars are really cool looking. That's it. NEO continues to advance its battery swapping technology, which allows users to quickly exchange depleted batteries for fully charged ones. This system is being expanded with new swapping stations being deployed across key locations. Expansion. International market. NEO has been expanding its presence beyond China with increased efforts to enter European markets. They have announced new showrooms and service centers in several European countries, aiming to capture a share of the growing EV market in the region. Expansion out of China. In the fourth quarter, NEO plans to start deliveries in the United Arab Emirates, Lee told investors on an earnings call on September the 5th. Lee is the CEO. Because of the tariff in Europe now, selling or exporting cars from China to Europe becomes more expensive, Lee said. He expects the L60 to reach 10,000 monthly deliveries in December and 20,000 vehicle deliveries a month next year. He anticipates 15% vehicle margins on the new Onvo branded cars. Onvo is their off brand, if you will, that they just released less than a month ago. And then in a month or so, they have Firefly coming, which is another off brand, because essentially NEO has been luxury car market in China, and not everybody has luxury dollars. So now they have Onvo and Firefly. That's kind of like their versions to compete against like the Model 3 and the Model X, or the Model 3 and the Model Y of Tesla, essentially. Tesla's Chinese rival NEO cuts price for the new Onvo branded car. Onvo, the low price, well, I could have just read this and tell you all everything that I just said. Onvo, the lower price brand launched by premium electric car company NEO, announced its first car, the L60 SUV, would start as low as 149,900 Chinese yuan, or 21,210 US dollars, when buying battery services. A model with a battery in a car starts at 206,900 yuan. Deliveries are set to begin September the 28th. And then NEO monthly deliveries. NEO delivered a total of 41,600 cars for July and August. The guidance implies that the company could see over 20,000 deliveries for September. There's a possibility that volumes could improve further in Q4 as NEO is looking to double down on the lower end of the EV market. And here you see a little a chart here, and essentially deliveries are going up and to the right for the most part. Here there's a little bit of a lag, but not bad at all. And then you have NEO stock forecast. The 11 analysts with 12-month price forecast for NEO stock have an average target of 735 with a low estimate of $4 and a high estimate of 15. The average target predicts an increase of 31.96% from the current stock price of 557. And analyst consensus is buy. So here it just kind of gives you the chart, the pricing chart, and then the high guy, the average guy, and the low guy, right, as far as on the totem pole. And then the revenue chart, NEO income revenue quarterly. You guys can see that this thing's been going up and to the right, and then it really faltered, and that is why NEO got crushed as far as share price goes. Their margins were just absolutely in the toilet, but now they're on the rebound again. So that part's kind of nice. Upgrades and downgrades. These are all of your analysts here, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Citigroup, etc. It tells you whether or not they're bullish, neutral, overweight, underweight, that kind of thing. And here it just gives you more insight into that. 540 institutional holders, 279 million shares held. That's a lot. Institutional ownership is 14%. Total outstanding shares it's a lot, almost 2 billion shares. Total value of the holdings, etc. And then, of course, you're going to see some of the usual suspects. Who owns a bunch of shares? BlackRock, State Street, Morgan Stanley, Legal & General, HSBC, Goldman Sachs, etc. So whenever I look at making a decision and formulating an investment thesis, is I always want to see where's the smart money, because these people are referred to as the smart money, the market makers, right? And institutional investors. And I'm like, well, what do they know that I don't know? Why does BlackRock want to own 60 million shares of NEO if China's so bad? And that's always a question that I don't ever get real good answers to. They're like, oh, BlackRock's and everything. They rule the world. That might be true. But I don't think that BlackRock is in the business of losing any money. So that is the reason that I feel very confident holding the little 70,000 shares here, because that's very small in comparison to that number right there that you see on BlackRock. So really, really good stuff. Alex, appreciate it. I didn't expect all of this over here. This is exciting. This is exciting. It just makes me feel like I owe Alex more money, essentially. Oh man, Alex is so awesome for the channel, guys. Anyway, give Alex a thumbs up. That's really, really cool. So we'll maybe get him on the channel one day and we'll go through all of those slides and essentially see, see what's what with all that stuff. Let me catch up with you guys. And so we'll do live Q&A at the 45-minute mark. So 45-minute mark. Live Q&A, and we will be on our way because I've got to make a couple of phone calls, run a couple of errands, and then I've got FaceTimes the rest of the afternoon. So where are we at? Live Q&A. What's going on? Shampasta. I hate the bland, lame black hat. I was not thinking of him. Morning, TJ and folks. What's going on? Do you have a channel in TG? I'm not sure what that means. Good morning, team. Haters gonna hate. Gonna hate, hate, hate. Isn't that a Taylor Swift song? Yep, it happens. Strange people that love to attack winners. Can you explain what wheeling is? In a nutshell, it's whenever you buy it's when you're making a commitment to buy shares of a stock, minimum 100, contract asking put, get over and over until you're assigned. Then you put those shares at that strike price and that expiration date. And then you immediately turn around and you sell covered calls. That's an agreement to sell shares at a certain price on a certain day. You're going to do that over and over again until the shares are called away. And then you're going to start back at square one. So you're going to sell puts over and over until you get assigned. And then when that happens, you're immediately going to turn around and sell covered calls and do that over and over until the shares are called away. And then you just start back at one. Pretty straightforward. We do a version of that on this channel. I'm actually kind of stingy with the shares once they get put on me or I buy them outright. I don't really like to sell shares because I feel like the big money is always going to be in the capital appreciation. All love here, TJ. Keep doing you. Appreciate you. I recommend checking out the YouTube channel, DTO Options. He offers very educational videos on options trades and streams his trades live on Discord when the market opens. You can participate for free right on. With 50% of my portfolio on SoFi, which is around 44K, would you say it's too risky? Depends on your entry point. If you own those shares at like $5, I'd love to be you. If you own those shares at $10, shit, man. So entry points matter. Entry points matter. But if you have like all of those shares at like $5, $6, even $7, I'd be selling covered calls, bring some premiums through the door, use those premiums to maybe diversify a little bit. But am I looking to trim that position? Probably wouldn't even consider trimming until SoFi is at least $12 a share. That's me. Not financial advice. Let's see what Tesla do today. We're going to find out, man. Tesla historically has not been good at these types of events, though. Keep that in mind. Appreciate all the 518 people that clicked the link. We got 134 people rocking with us live here on YouTube. Garcia, yeah, I'm looking at it. Need to spread some money around. Going to stick it out a bit. The only thing I hate about TJ is a choice of a football team. Don't be hating, Danielle. Don't be hating, man. Diagonal flying saucer. That's got to be the quote of the day right there. That's your quote of the day, the diagonal flying saucer with the J lizard. Imagine buying an iron condor insurance policy for your car. Oh my goodness. Man, I've done 4 iron condos and I've lost every single one of them. And on paper, they look easy. They look easy. Like you're supposed to win that trade. I don't win it. God bless you guys, y'all iron condors. I am not an iron condorian. Hey, what's going on, Tesla? Word. What's going on, LUFC Jody? Do you have your spreadsheet posted somewhere that we can use to figure out the adjusted cost basis? So you go to wdshirt777@gmail.com. It's not fully done. It was number 7. Appreciate you, Alex. I'll be sending you some more money here soon, but appreciate everything you do for the channel. Closed Casket puts a hat on DJT. Is that the Donald J. Trump company or whatever? No other trades yet today. Wheelers, what's going on? Larmo. What's your price target for Enphase? I think Enphase is definitely going to see $150 again. I don't know when. I'm hoping within the next year. But I'm not sure, I want to get back with Carlos. I want to get back with Vitali, and let's revisit this investment thesis. Like, what's going on with Enphase? I know that interest rates, blah, 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 all that stuff hurt the company, the margins, all that stuff. I get all that. But I'm saying, what has the company been doing to get better? Because I don't think management's just kind of sitting on their hands and wait for the Fed to cut interest rates so that they can make money. I just don't think that Baudry guy, he's wired like that. Like that dude seems like he's really, really wired to win, and he's wired to win now. So we'll see. We'll see what management is doing to pivot and to because they had like a lot of inventory, a lot of excess inventory that they were working through. So we'll see. But I do think that within the next year, I definitely think it'll have $150 price target. What's going on, Midwest? What's going on, Walt? TJ, would you sell Riot 750 puts about a month out? I'd probably go closer to 7. Me personally, closer to 7 or at 7. I found it crazy that BlackRock was the top holder. Definitely add some confidence if you're a holding position. What's going on, Bachata? Thanks for the live stream. TJ, you're welcome. Any thoughts on buying call options on Hood? Definitely something we'll talk about with Amit tomorrow, because that's the button up strategy, right? When you're already selling puts, selling calls, you're confident, but you want to continue to sell aggressive covered calls. Well, you might want to buy some of that insurance to the upside, and that's where long calls would come in. So yeah, I'm definitely looking at wanting to buy some options on Hood, probably in that $20 strike price. So they're kind of expensive, but it's cheaper than having to buy a shitload of shares. And then that will free me up to be able to sell cash secured puts, but there's 10,000 shares owned on Hood, and we're only selling cover calls on 5,000. So got a lot of spotters there. So being able to buy the long calls will allow me to sell cover calls on those shares, and I don't have spotters, and I feel better about myself. And I'm not cheering against Robinhood because the long calls are protecting the short calls. So, that's the strategy in a nutshell. Palantir trying for 44. Good for us. Good for all of us. Palantir is crushing my. Yeah, you might want to wire those. You might want to roll those here at some point, brother. Palantir running, Palantir, Palantards. Man, we're all crushing it. Any advice on nearing covered calls on Palantir? You're going to have to just keep rolling and rolling and rolling. At some point, Palantir is going to have to go sideways. We're going to have an earnings report. They're priced to absolute perfection. So, these earnings calls are going to be very, very, very critical. If not, there could easily be a 10, 20% correction on Palantir. Is that going to happen? Probably not. But, it's free to hope and dream. You mentioned it's a good thing when cover calls go against us. Why is that? When I roll, the credit is not as much either, and I'm in the red with them. So it depends on how far you're rolling. The reason I like to play stocks from behind a little bit, I don't prefer to do it, but I'm saying I'm okay doing it, is because I'm legit long the stock. And if I can just even break even, and I can go another dollar, like break even on my roll and go up $1, well, then now you're qualified for all that capital appreciation. And I always have an exit price in mind. So like, for instance, with CrowdStrike, let me see if I can end with this right here, because I got to go. But here's CrowdStrike. Let me see. Where's CrowdStrike? Here we go. So if I look at CrowdStrike, this is a position that I would like to be in long term, but I don't have to be in long term, because I wasn't in it until recently. So it doesn't really do anything for me. Like, I'm not emotionally tied to it. So this part's good. There's 300 shares here, but then of course I got covered calls over here at 275. So, and I just rolled these yesterday. I went from like 270 to 275, added them into the contract, picked up $1,500. You guys can see it right there. So that's what happened. So I'm like, if I could keep rolling this thing a month out and going up $3 to $5 in strike, like, I'm totally okay, because I already have a predetermined exit price of 300. It's already at 311. So obviously the other side of the coin is like, oh, you just held and not done anything. You could already sold right now and been done. Yes, but my crystal ball, didn't work. And I didn't know that I could just do that, right? Because whenever I started building this position, CrowdStrike was what? In the fucking toilet. It was in the toilet, right? all that shit happened with the update or whatever, all the airlines, everybody was just getting their ass kicked because CrowdStrike, there was a snafu there. So I started building this position and I started selling covered calls because the momentum was to the downside. So now I'm just managing these covered calls and I'm trying to get to my exit strike price without pushing the can, kicking the can too far down the road. So I like the position that I'm at because my exit strike price has already painted itself. And I'm not going to be worried about all this money that I'm going to be living on the table, because before I was selling options, I wasn't buying at the bottom and selling at the top. If you are doing that successfully, this is something I've never said on the channel, guys. This is the quote of the day right here. So we're going to end it with quote of the day. And we're going to go with the 56-minute mark. And I'm going to give you all the best freaking quote that I've ever given you guys. So best quote of the day. And I'm going to go over here and we're going to do it right. We're going to do it right. I'm going to even put the tree of knowledge out there as the brand. Okay. So match the thumbnail. Here's the best quote of the day that I've ever given you guys that isn't biblical, because all the biblical quotes trump this one. So here's the best quote of the day. I'm just waiting right at that 56-minute mark, and I'm going to give it to you guys. I appreciate the 542 people rocking with me that clicked the link on X and the 135 live. Here you go. If you are successful buying at the bottom and selling at the top, you have no business wasting your time selling cash secured puts and covered calls. Let's say it again, paraphrase. If you're that damn good buying at the bottom and selling at the top, why are we talking about selling options? Why are you going to put a ceiling on your earnings? Why are you going to put a ceiling on your gains? The reason that I sell cash secured puts and covered calls is because a long time ago, before the rain, before the snow, right? That Surf Psycho Sexy from Red Hot Chili Peppers. If you don't know, now you know, right? Here's the thing. I know that I'm not that good at buying at the bottom and selling at the top, because if I could just do that, why not just do that? That's easier. You don't have to monitor shit, right? You're just going to look at the chart. You're going to know exactly when it's going to rain. You're going to go out there with your umbrella and your raincoat and everything's going to be awesome, right? You're not going to ride your motorcycle in the rain, because that happens to me too. So I watched the weather report to say it's not going to rain. Bullshit. I got caught in several rainstorms. So I know those meteorologists aren't that good either. And they got a lot of technology. Sound like people can't accurately tell me when it's going to be bad weather. How can I believe that anybody with technical analysis is going to accurately predict price movement for me? There's a lot more technology out there that's supposed to tell you when we're going to have inclement weather, and sometimes they get it wrong. In fact, they get it wrong a lot. It's more reliable for me to go see whether or not the damn cows are huddled up than I know that there's a storm coming of some kind, right? But the cows are a better indicator than watching this stupid meteorologist, especially if it's on the Spanish channel, because they just have the hot-ass chick on there, telling you what's going on with the weather, shaking her ass, right? Garcia. But, is she really a reliable source? I don't know. So that's the thing, because I'm not that good at buying at the bottom and selling at the top. I choose to sell options. It's my buffer. It's my margin of safety. And I'm not that enamored with buying at the bottom. And I'm not that enamored with selling at the top. But if I can get in that proximity, well, all of the premiums that I collected will make it look as if on paper I bought at the bottom and I sold at the top. That's why you have to look at the collective. You have to look at the totality of the trade. Because yes, I got a cost basis, an average cost of $7.74 on those SoFi shares. But throughout all of the portfolios, I'm approaching a cost basis of $0 on the shares, because I've collected so much premiums via cash secured puts, rolling, and covered calls. So that is what I try to do. That is what I'm trying to teach and preach, is look at your adjusted cost basis. So if you stick in a trade long enough and you sell enough puts on it, you sell enough calls on it, and you keep lowering your adjusted cost basis, Eventually, you're going to manufacture the win, guys. I think some of you guys might be stuck on these Palantir covered calls, and you probably didn't do what I didn't do either, which is what? We didn't buy long calls as protection. That was one mistake. And another thing, we stopped strangling the stock. I haven't been selling cash secured puts on Palantir either. So it gets more and more painful as I'm babysitting these covered calls, because I have not found it enticing enough to continue to sell cash secured puts on there and to keep extracting premium. Because my God, if we'd have all been selling cash secured puts on Palantir this whole time, how many times would we have just been in that trade for a day or two and looked up and we're like at 80-90% profit on that particular trade and just winning and winning and winning and winning? But when you get totally directional with these trades and we turn into like buy, hold, and hopers, and now we're like, shit, I can't do anything. I kick the can down the road. There's no more money coming in. The price is here. My strike price is here. And you're just pissed off all the way around because we stopped wheeling the stock. We stopped strangling that stock because it got so far away from areas that we're interested in buying more shares. See, there's a difference between being okay holding shares in a company that you feel like are very inflated versus I'm still willing to buy shares. And that's where I have done a little bit better with Palantir, because I've been doing what? The DCA 500 shares a week for like 6 weeks now, 7 weeks now. And I'm going to do another 500 on the mid show tomorrow, because I'm like, well, this thing's going to keep going up. Well, I'm going to keep buying it on the way up as well. And that'll take away some of the pain of these covered calls. So I'm always treating it like, do I still think this thing has legs? Is it still going to go up and to the right? Yes. Well, then I'm going to keep buying it. I'm going to keep buying it. But the minute that I don't think it's going to continue to go up and I'm not willing to buy it, then why am I willing to hold it? You see, that's another quote for you guys. If you're not willing to buy more shares, why are you so willing to hold it? Food for thought, food for thought. I'm always here to challenge you guys the way that y'all challenge me, and I always want to make you think. Appreciate you guys. This might be a record for us, 144 on the live. I got to get rocking and rolling. I got a husband duties. I got shit to do. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. I will not be going live for the 1010 event. I'll probably be watching the Mids channel. There's going to be several people that are out there doing the 1010 event. TJ, the Wheel Deal, signing off as always. May your sky stay blue, stock screen. Peace out. God bless you guys.